Okay, let's get started. I know we wanted to keep these. This is a part of our modernization series. This is the fourth part, and we're looking to keep this probably under 40, definitely under an hour, maybe close to 45 minutes. These are meant to be quick. Specific topics today is visualization, or just really, okay, we got the data, we got all the OEE or, KPI or whatever's important you're tracking. How do you present that? How do you bring that up and have people look at it? So that's really what we wanted to focus on today. And really the gist of today's presentation is just an overview, high level, and we feel that if you see something or want to know more about it, we're willing to come out and visit you. And we know everybody's a little bit different and understand your situation better. We can sit there and talk to you about how you might be able to incorporate some of these things real-time information so that you can make decisions not after the fact but before, and use it more as predictive type maintenance or management. So again, I'm John Conway. I'm the automation sales manager here at Rexel for Western New York, and we're fortunate to have one of my team members, Bob Berry, here. Bob's been with us over 15 years, close to 15 years now, and in his prior life he had been a system integrator, OEM, machine builder. And as I've always said, Bob's seen it and done it all, and some. So he's in charge of our automation group in the sense that he's really focused on the controls and software side of it. And that's really where this is right up his alley. So Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'll come back at the end.
Yep, sounds good. So as John said, this is part 4 of a 5-part series. So I kind of broke the presentation into 2 parts today. The first topic is talking about automated diagnostics that now come along for the ride with some of the new product releases. Helps obviously system availability, and it's all about reducing downtime. You'll probably hear me say that a lot today. And then the second part, I broke it into software solutions. What solution do we have to log data, and then help you make decisions and again improve efficiencies. So when we talk about the connected enterprise, you might have heard of terms like digital transformation, the Internet of Things, IoT, maybe Industry 4.0. But it's really all about connecting your production facility, your production lines, right, over Ethernet to allow that flow of data, to easily flow between devices, to suck data out of a controller and, easily be able to log that data and eventually be able to visualize that data, right, turn that data into actionable data. So one of the things when we talk about, the connected enterprise is, we call CPWE, converged plant-wide Ethernet. So with our Stratix line of switches from Rockwell, right, that allows us to easily connect, our various, automated equipment in a facility. So, and they're all based on Cisco OSs. So if IT has to manage them, it's not some foreign type of OS that IT might not, be able to manage, have a hard time managing. So, but it's all about connecting the plant assets easily and allowing that flow of data easily. So let's talk about, when we start to modernize, right, our goal is to make it smart, right, to really, as it's stating in the top right there, to be cost effective, right, reduce risk. It's all about reducing downtime, right, and keeping the production facility going. But one thing I want to say, there's a difference between, say, doing a conversion. Say you have a Slicker, a PLC5, right? You just don't want to. We want to be modernize that. We want to give it more capability, make it smarter. So that's when we can start to add. You see some of the automatic diagnostics and through the software tools we have to bring, to really make your automated system and production line smart and make it easy to troubleshoot with the automated diagnostic. So when we look at a smart connected system, these are the 6 things that might contain a typical smart system. Really starts with smart devices, right? Even down at the sensor level. Now we have I/O link that allows us to get more information from sensors, and whether it be a servo drive or or PowerFlex variable speed drive, right? We have more information we can harvest out of these devices now. This is really all wrapped around the integrated architecture, how easy it is to integrate these the different devices, drives, motion, process, whatever. So it's really the integrated architecture, that umbrella allows us to do this easily, easily configure a drive into Studio 5000, and as well as making it secure. You see a lot of the new features and the new controllers have encrypted firmware, so now somebody can't, inject some kind of malware into your firmware, maybe come in through a back door or something. So there's about all these things that integrated architecture brings to, make it easy to design the system and, bring more data into your system to allow you to operate more efficiently. So when we talk about connecting the production data, I kind of broke it down into 3 areas. The first area on the left there is that diagnostic data. That's the first topic we'll talk about, and how smart devices, helps you monitor that device health and monitor for failure is really all about. So if it fails, get it up and going right as soon as possible. And you're trying to reduce downtime. And then in the second half, I'll talk about some products that allow us to log data and start to prepare to analyze the data with products that Rockwell Automation has. So you'll see some of the the machine data or process data. It's more of an engineered solution, whereas the diagnostic data, it's some of the value add that's built into some of the new products that you'll see in the next few slides here. You talk about new versions of Studio 5000 coming out, and some of the new products like Panelview 5000, and some of those new features that they have that offer. So let's talk about Panelview 5000 and automatic diagnostics. So starting with V33, we start to get these automatic diagnostics, and here it's showing that on the right side there, that heart with the 1 on it there, that shows that's telling us we have some diagnostic message. This is a pre-built-in banner in the Panelview 5000. So it's supported with some of the newer controllers, such as the Control Logic 5580 and the Compact Logic 5380. So now, if you've been in the Studio 5000 project, right, and you get that yellow triangle down on your Ethernet tree, maybe you don't have a connection to a device now. So now this would easily pop up onto your Panelview 5000, and hopefully, the goal is right to fix that problem sooner and prevent the downtime. So there's another device that we have, automation device boards. So this product came from FactoryTalk Analytics, which is kind of going end of life towards the middle of this year. But that capability still is going to be around. I think it's important that you know about it. So what we have is on the left there, we show these smart devices. Then we had an analytics appliance. So, and what that analytics applies to, it was easy to discover, whether it be a PowerFlex drive or a Kinetix 5700 servo drive or a controller. So, and what was built into the product is I've shown on the right there, and I'll show a few examples, is how to easily get information in from that diagnostic information from these devices. That maybe you got a problem with a VFD. So it's a lot of value add built in there. But it's, as I say in the top right there, it is being replaced by a new product called FactoryTalk Edge Gateway, which has the smart device discovery, which allows us to, it'll be able to go out and crawl the network and discover these devices automatically, and bring them into a solution where then you can start to visualize that data. Just kind of a quick overview with that FactoryTalk Edge Gateway. So you see on the left side there, and I show a few devices, and we have this concept of automatic device discovery, whether it be a drive, a Logix controller, and then with the smart data objects that allows you to contextualize the information very easily, whether it be into something like ThinWorks and log that to a SQL database, then to be able to visualize that onto a screen for someone. Then you can also push this data to the cloud if you want to with FactoryTalk Edge Gateway. It's shown on the right there. We have an IoT hub. It's connected into some ThinWorks and log data into the cloud. So Edge Gateway is a fairly new product. Maybe been out a year and a half. So you'll be hearing more about that in the coming future here. There's just some sample screenshots that that analytics with devices would have, that then we could then start to build into some reports that as FactoryTalk Gateway harvests that data. So here you can see, like it is talking about a PowerFlex 525 drive. Maintenance is required. It had this fault code F059. So you can see how much is built into these products that prior to this, right, you'd have to design code into your program and trap all these faults. So it's a lot of value added into these products that with a little cost, and FactoryTalk Gateway is not free. Little cost built in that just to harvest all this data that's in controllers and VFDs and Kinetix servo drives. So moving on to the next product. So we're talking about managing networks as we have this expanded networking system throughout your plant, with Ethernet. So how do you manage your network, right? Sometimes it's like trying to find a needle in the haystack. If you got a large network, you got a section of your Ethernet network that has gone down. What caused it? So FactoryTalk Network Manager has these three key features: network visibility, troubleshooting, and configuration and maintenance. So as far as the network visibility, right, that allows you to draw the network out. Kind of shows that kind of a small picture on the top left there. And that's valuable info, right? Sometimes you don't even know what's on your network. So at least with the network visibility, Network Manager would draw it out for you. And then you can start to add more stuff like troubleshooting. So it would identify maybe a port that went down, for instance. So that kind of troubleshooting. Maybe you're exceeding bandwidth on a port. So I think Ethernet troubleshooting is one of the key things as your Ethernet network grows today. Have some handle on how we can diagnose problems with your Ethernet network. So Network Manager has to reside on the PC, right? It has to be alive all the time. Obviously, it's not going to go in after the fact. You want to have this on a PC that's live on the network and monitoring the network in real time. Then that last feature there, configuration and maintenance, right? So that allows you to back up your switch, right? So once you have managed switches throughout your facility, right, that allows you to, back up the switch. You got to replace a switch. You can easily, load the configuration back into it. Most of them do have SD cards too. You can use the SD card as a backup too. But it easily allows you to deploy switch configurations and update firmware. So I think Network Manager is kind of a key software tool, to help you manage your Ethernet networks. Here's another automatic diagnostics kind of feature, similar to the Panelview 5000. This is just talking about FactoryTalk View SE. So here you can see down in the bottom left here, we have this enabled automatic diagnostics checked in the advanced tab, under the controller properties. And then with V12, we have now what we call a native display grid that allows us to, attach into that automatic device diagnostic that's available now, and easily view that on a View SE system. Next topic here is SIP energy, which energy is pretty critical in any facility to try and save some costs. So we have a bunch of products here that have the SIP energy objects embedded now, the power monitors, whether it be a power monitor 5000, power monitor 1000, the new PowerFlex 755 drives have that object, and then you see the Kinetix 55 and 5700, and finally the E300 overload. So just another tool to help you, maybe see where, you have high energy uses and maybe, start to look at how you could save energy. Or if you just need the power monitor 5000 as, power quality monitoring capability, if you need something really accurate to measure your power usage as well. So talking about the Kinetix drives it a little bit more. So we have some enabled automatic diagnostics, the virtual torque sensor. Talk more about that in the next slide, but we always had this adaptive tuning and notch filters to help you easily tune your servo drive, whether it be a 5500 or a 5700. We got some requirements to take advantage of the virtual torque sensor. You have the Studio 5000 V33, and some the latest firmware that's required to support that. So looking at the virtual torque sensor, right, it allows you to detect any kind of anomaly. That hey, my motor's all of a sudden working a little bit harder. What's causing it? Right, probably some kind of mechanical issue, whether it be a jam or maybe just a screw that needs lubrication. It's another tool you can use to help you diagnose, troubleshoot, and prevent downtime. So this slide talks about the PowerFlex 755. This is kind of like a flow of when we talk about a smart machine. Logging that real-time data, contextualize that data. Here's an example of and operating conditions that we want to contextualize. On the 755 drive, it has a fan. So then with analytics, we could predict, hey, that cooling fan is going to die in 2 weeks, and we schedule a replacement. So we got these algorithms built into the PowerFlex 755 drive that allows that, right? So instead of relying on on the past, we had timers, that we might have used to do something like this, but now we have these advanced algorithms built into the PowerFlex 755 that allows it to become, more predictable to say, hey, this part's gonna die in 2 weeks. So that's kind of the 6 or so topics I wanted to talk about for automatic diagnostics. We could pause for questions now. I don't know if you want to pause for questions now, John, or just wait to the end.
Yeah, Bob, I don't think we have anything. I said that they could do stuff in the chat if they wanted to, but we might want to just keep going just because I know everybody's busy, and we said at the end we'll open it up for questions. If people want to put it in the chat, they're welcome to do it, or just wait to the end.
Yeah. So just a quick review, right? So we got this diagnostic data, right, from all our smart devices, and it's really a lot of value add that's added into, whether it be a PowerFlex drive, a Kinetix servo drive, or as well as the controllers. So and Panelview. So with little cost, it allows you to make your machine or your production line more efficient and reduce downtime. I'm going to switch gears a little bit here and talk about the two right topics here. How can I log data into a machine, into a database? I mean, sorry. You want to solve problems, right? What's causing my downtime? What alarms do I have, right? Maybe you have a OEE initiative. Then if you have a process, right, you need to log temperatures, pressures, right? To be able to, it's all about improving your process quality, right? Is my process operating within limits? So we'll be talking about some software products here that allow you to do this. So what methods do we have? And we call this, right, a FactoryTalk system. All the Rockwell software is in the FactoryTalk suite. So here you got we're talking about three out of these 4 products. FactoryTalk View SE, it's what we call the Site Edition, SCADA HMI. Moving down the list there, we got Historian. We have 2 different versions of it, a Machine Edition and a Site Edition. And then FactoryTalk Metrics that allows us to help us with OEE initiatives and reduce downtime. The last one, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it's called FactoryTalk Transaction Manager. It allows us to transfer data to and from the controller, say to a SQL database. So common application for that is maybe recipe upload, download, but it's transactional data that's logged to SQL. It could be any event really that happens in your system that you want to log to a SQL database. Transaction Manager will allow you to do that. And finally, once we log the data, right, do we have some purpose in mind behind all this, right? We're trying to visualize that data so that to make supervisors or operators aware, hey, what's going on with the line, that I need to do something to keep the line running. So that's what we have FactoryTalk Analytics Data View to do that, as well as more advanced software from ThinWorks. What can I do at FactoryTalk View Site Edition? All right, so we have what we call FactoryTalk Alarm Events. I think an alarming system is critical to any machine, just as a general statement, right? So with FactoryTalk Alarm Events, we can log, create a historical log of all the alarms in SQL. We can attach it to a SQL database. All right, it's for alarm events can be a standalone system, but it's really part of a View SE system. Some of the new features we have with alarm events is controller-based alarming. Not quite new; it's been out 3-4 years, but it's making managing alarms simpler now. Right, you can manage your alarms in the controller now. Starting with I want to say V32 of Studio 5000. We have an alarm manager now, and you can simply make a tag and alarm now, and then you configure that tag, whether it be an analog alarm, high, low level, or a digital alarm. whether it be high to low to high transition, low to high, that you want to trigger that alarm. And then finally, you're configuring with controller-based alarm, you're configuring the alarm text inside the controller now. So you don't have to, you make a mistake with your alarm, you don't have to re-download to your HMI. So it's all managed in one place. So, but alarming is critical to to get a handle on what's causing issues in your plant. So what else can we do with VUSC, right? So we have data logging and trending capabilities, right? So we can log data to an ODBC database such as SQL. Then we got a nice new trend tool called Trend Pro. It came from the Vantage Point software product. Makes it very easy to, stack up trends ad hoc form to search for tags and, bring them up into a trend, easily to export data. So Trend Pro is our new advanced trending object. Allows us to, also to be able to trend data from multiple sources, whether it's live data in a controller, or integrated with Historian to trend Historian data. By Historian data, I mean Historian SE product that I'll be talking about in a little bit here. So, as I said, it's easy, to configure and ad hoc trending, to drag and drop tags onto the trend and, for analysis. So another new feature that built in VSite Edition V12 is this new VUSC data object that we have. Something you could build, maybe simple reporting into the HMI, right? So you can register this object into your SQL database. Maybe it's showing some OEE data, for instance. Maybe you're attaching into an OEE database, but a simple way to get reporting into your VUSC system with this historical data grid, it's called. No scripting is required. So makes your job a little bit easier there. So now we're switching gears to Historian. Those are some features built into VUSC and V12 that can help you out. So now we're talking about Historian. We have two versions. What's called the Historian Machine ME module. That's this module on the right side. So that's a 1756 module that would, slide into your chassis, 1756 chassis. Then the SE is our server PC based Historian. The big thing with the Rockwell Historian is time series optimized data store. So compared to SQL, you can look at a significant database size reduction, as well as being able to to save data for 10 to 30 years, depending on the number of tags, hard drive space, that kind of thing. So we do that by introducing what we call exception and compression. You can see on the left here we have a raw data, and then we can start to do some dead banding, and then finally compression. That allows us to compress the database a little bit and be able to store large amounts of data for long time. So one of the nice things about the Historian ME module is it's no PC required. So just in the 1756 chassis, we can log data. It is limited in size. It's really meant to eventually forward to Historian server, but it does have faster logging capability than the server itself. So you need something that's maybe you want to connect multiple lines back to a server, and you need data quickly. Fast log intervals. Maybe the Historian ME module would be a module for you that help to log the data that you need. It's just a typical architecture for Historian. I didn't talk much about the interface node on the previous page, but so the interface node is pretty important. It can be loaded on the Historian server itself, or it can be separate. So then it offers some nice features and different architectures that we can construct. So say you have to take your Historian server down for maintenance, right? Maybe you need to back up the Historian database. So with having an interface node on a separate PC, right, we can continue while our server is down. We can continue to collect data on that interface node. Then when our server comes back up, it'll forward that data into the server. So then we have different architectures, redundant interface nodes. You can have 2 interface nodes redundant. You can have redundant servers. So it's a scalable solution just based on what you need, the availability you need for the data or the reporting of your data. This just kind of shows the technology stack, right? We talked about Historian down the bottom, right? It's easy to discover, tags and controllers and import them into Historian. But eventually, right, it's all about analyzing the data, whether it be with just a VUSE trend, that trend project to easily, run the data. Then we start to get into more of the analytics suite, data view, and data flow, which allows you to create more sophisticated reports, and finally, even maybe something like a cloud-based solution like PTC ThinWorks, where you can start to design more sophisticated reports and mashups to analyze the data. And now I'm switching gears to OEE. So FactoryTalk Metrics is what we call our OEE tool. If you're not familiar with OEE, it's overall equipment effectiveness. And really what we're trying to do with FactoryTalk Metrics is analyze why our machine, what our machines are doing, right? You might call them key performance indicators. You really only have to configure a handful of tags to start to get some key KPIs. Maybe you want to benchmark the performance of your lines. Why does line 2 produce more than line 1? What's happening with line 1? So by using FactoryTalk Metrics and getting these calculations out for KPIs, that helping identify some of that. The big thing with metrics though is really about the loss of causes. What's causing my machine, to be down? Is it am I getting cylinder 1, that continues to jam? So with metrics you can start to log that data, log the alarms, maybe that you used in FactoryTalk alarm events, and start to get useful reports out what's causing your downtime. So it's really all about implementing an improvement program. Really, FactoryTalk Metrics isn't going to reduce your downtime. It's going to help identify what's causing your downtime. I don't think everybody probably has a handle on what's causing downtime, especially if you get a number of production lines. So this is a tool to really identify, and what's causing your downtime. Why, like I mentioned, why is line 2 working producing better than line 1, or why does shift 1 always produce better than shift 3? So you can start to analyze and get that, and visualize that data to help you come up with solutions to reduce those types of downtimes. So here's a scalable solution. We call it scalable OEE today. So these 3 phases, visualize, benchmark, and optimize, are 3 paths you can follow. So with visualize, really getting FactoryTalk metrics, installed and configured to help you begin logging the data to SQL and really start to move from a reactive, downtime issue to being more proactive, to fix what's causing the issues. So there'll be, and you can use that data as an ROI analysis on investments to say, hey, I need to fix this certain section of my machine. It's my, I'm down 10% of the time because of this part of the machine. So you can go to management and say, yeah, we need a budget to fix this part of the machine. And then if you move into the benchmarking section, you might add something like ThinWorks and DataView to start to analyze the data, spot real-time bottlenecks, that type of thing. Maybe connect non-production data, into the actual production data. And finally, optimize. So here you might add something like process data. Maybe you're going to add in Historian into it at this point to maybe connect the performance data from the machine into the process data and get to achieve some real-time process improvements. You can maybe keep your process within spec to eliminate rejects and scrap. Here's an example of a report, pretty simple report. Metrics has over 60 templates built into it, so you're not building these reports from scratch. It allows you to drill down per section here. You can see in the bottom left, right, we got line 3 with the container filler capper, an inspection area and a label. So you start to drill down into each area. This is just one of many reports. You can even get waterfall reports that would show blockage. Do I have a cell on my line that's being starved for product? We can analyze that type of stuff. Is maybe the exit of an area is black, so it's stopping it from continuing. Just to identify bottlenecks in your system. What's causing my line to be less efficient. So it's kind of wrapping it up here. We're about 40 minutes into it. So what's next? How do you get started on these type of projects? More on the software side of it, the automated diagnostics part of it. That kind of comes further right as you use some of those new products. Hopefully, you see some interest in those new products and start to use it. But how do I get started? Some of these questions you might ask: do I have company improvement initiatives, cost reduction initiatives? Right. That might get some of these. You have these programs. We can help you identify the correct software that would help you meet your initiatives. Define and start to define what data is required. Most of these are multi-phase projects over multiple years. It's not something you're gonna do in 1 year. So you're probably looking at maybe a 3 to 5 year kind of project to make some process improvements or production improvements. So I'm going to send a slide deck out. There's a nice white paper here. Who's leading the industrial digital transformation? I think you'll find it pretty valuable and maybe help you out planning some of your projects. Just to wrap it up, so how can you get more hands-on experience with some of the software products we talked about? So we have virtual labs to get some hands-on. Give me a call, give John a call, your outside sales guy, whoever. But we can sign you up for these virtual labs that Rockwell has developed to start to get you some hands-on and test drive a little bit and see, if that product's going to do what you thought it could do. Then coming up in June 13th to the 17th is Rock Live. Be a great event to start to to go to tech sessions and hands-on labs to get some experience. But you know, what can I do to, to make that digital transformation in your plant or your machine to make it more efficient? So registration will be coming late March. And then there'll be some virtual dates too if you can't make it to Orlando. Yeah, we'll be able to replay some of the sessions and get the labs through virtual dates. There's a link here that takes you to the website if you do want to register to attend. I don't know what the cost is. It's not a free event, but there'll be some cost associated with it to attend. So finally, I guess I'm ending it here, John. Questions? I encourage you to contact Rexel for more info. We just kind of touched the surface here. Let us help you plan your digital transformation journey. Yeah, like I said, we just touched the surface here, really. So.
Yeah, Bob, there's nothing in the chat, but if anyone who's on wants to ask a question of the group, myself, or I think Josh is still with us. That's our networking guy. You're welcome to ask a question now if you want to come off mute. Do have one. I hinted towards it a lot, Bob, or one of the last slides there. But the thing that I see a lot is, how does that was a lot of information, right? You had a lot of different hardware, a lot of different software. Who's going to do all this? Is Rockwell going to do it? Rexel going to do it? I have to go find an integrator? And you brought up the biggest thing people are facing today, right? Costs, right? What's the price on all this? I think that's some of the reluctance or resistance we get is people are like, oh man, this is a huge undertaking. I got so much old equipment there that it's analog, or the controls aren't Rockwell, or I got new stuff that is the latest and greatest and mostly Rockwell, but then I've got other stuff that's not. And oh, by the way, Josh has seen this now. He's been on board a year or so, close to a year, that it's not connected, right? I've got islands of information. So with that question, Bob, I guess my question is, what do you do? Where do you start?
Yeah, as I headed back here, I think sometimes it takes. Let me back up a slide here. Sometimes it takes some type of initiative from a company to jumpstart some of these programs, right? I mean, you have to get stakeholders, right? You get management, involved. Hopefully they're kind of driving the initiative. I think that's where it starts. I read some things in trade magazines that what makes a successful project. As on your, or it'd be like an OEE project, and that's where they found the most success. If you have a company initiative that that's really it's an improvement initiative. You're trying to reduce downtime on the machine. I think that's really one of the places to start, and then as you get into the project itself, right? The Rockwell has delivery servers that can help deliver the project. So a lot of partners that they can help deliver the projects. Some Rockwell partners are very good at Historian. Some are very good at at integrating an OEE system. So we have a lot of resources to to actually execute the project. But
I said at the beginning, every factory is different, right? Even in the same industry, food, beverage, and gas and oil. As much as we like to think they all standardize, they're all different. And I think what, again, I find from doing this and in my previous life, it starts with an assessment, right? I mean, I think you got to see what you have, and if it's not documented in what you have out on the floor, and you're not aware of not only what is automation from Rockwell, all the other automation you have, that's somewhere we would come out and talk to you about that. We have a service where we would look at your factory and your plant and pretty much come up with a lot of what Bob just said, a plan, and base it on, so you knew in advance your budgets, what you would have to do to implement it. And I agree with Bob, you eat the elephant one bite at a time. You do not want to do this all at once. I don't recommend it. Not many people can shut down their factory for long periods of time, but you want to be evolutionary versus revolutionary, because on top of all this, it's easy for us to say in Rockwell this is easy. You have employees there, the operators, the technicians that aren't going to know a lot of the newer stuff, and people don't like change. And a lot of this is not only a mindset change, but it's change that changes the way they're doing their job every day. So we've gone through it a lot. We've had a lot of success here in the last few years with this modernization program, but bottom line, it starts at, I agree with Bob, it's an initiative that the company has to be on board, upper management has to be on board, and you realize, let's start with an assessment. And if you got everything documented, you know what you have, that you'd save that step. But I find that to be the first step and the smartest step to do, because your likelihood of success is a lot better if you do it that way. And then you line up, just as everything, the costs associated with making the enhancements, those in advance, and you can deal with them, and shutdowns and downtime, again, implement that over not months, but usually a year or two. So
and sometimes it is, the network is very important, as I mentioned back in the beginning with connected enterprise, and sometimes that's where you have to start, or you have islands of automation. So maybe that's the first phase of the project, is to get all that equipment network together. So eventually that'll flow up to like a data center, right? You're gonna stack up your servers, whether it be Historian server, VSE server. Which I didn't talk about Thin Manager, right? We have Thin Manager clients, all that. So multi-phase over multiple years.
It's some ways it's just because I was just at the doctor, it's like going to see your doctor. It's like, ask you a question: what hurts? Where are you having pain? Where are you down a lot? Where's your downtime? Where's your challenges? And that's a lot of that first step is coming out and meeting with clients and understanding again where they're having issues and address those. Because some, they might have a good network. They might have automation that's very solid in one portion of the plant and not in the other. So, again, these are things we welcome to do. And thank you, and have a great week.